Hello again and welcome back to another video. Today I have a little illustration that was inspired by my wife, or rather requested by my wife. Sometimes you have these ideas for a design and you just have to draw them, and sometimes somebody you love has an idea for a design and they ask you to draw it and you draw it because you love them. And also it sounded pretty cute. So you can already see from the sketch that it is a kitten on top of a tank. 'Cause why not? I didn't record the process of the sketch for this because I wanted to just sort of get that down before I went in and started recording. Although I kind of regret it because it just revealed the design to you right away. But here we are. This is what we did. And I found it really helpful for when doing the line art for the tank to use all the perspective rulers and guides that my line smoothing plugin Lazy Nizumi has. I found that to be very invaluable when I'm doing any sort of perspective or technical type drawing, anything that's not a person. Having like perspective rulers and just straight line rulers and perfect circle rulers is very, very helpful. So if you struggle with drawing things in perspective and with drawing perfect circles, I highly, highly recommend it. It's very good. Very, very good. And it was at this moment that I took a step back and realized this is probably the worst cat I have ever drawn. So I went back in and redid it. Another thing that really helped me out with this illustration was the symmetry guide that the newest version of Photoshop actually has built into it. I mean, it takes a little while to actually get to that. You have to turn on some setting in preferences, and I forget exactly how I did it, but I did it and now it's there and you can just create these symmetry guides and it's great. So yeah, if you have Photoshop CC 2018, highly recommend checking that out as well. It comes for free with this program that you already pay for, so you may as well use it if you're into that. And it helps to make the cat look a lot rounder and cuter and less lopsided and weird looking. And it took me about 5 million tries to get it to actually look the way that I wanted it to, but we got there eventually. There, already the cat is looking a lot better than it used to. Something I often have trouble with is self-motivation. Like, I can think of a design or an illustration, but then it takes me about a million years to actually get around to making it. And that is something that makes being a freelance artist a little more difficult. But I do find it a lot easier to implement other people's ideas. For example, this idea that my wife had. If I had come up with it on my own, I probably would have never done it, but because she came up with it and she kept asking me to draw it and saying it would be, you know, really cute and people would probably want to buy it on stuff. And, you know, she just kept insisting in a good way. That made it a lot easier for me to actually sit down and finally do it, because I wasn't doing it for me, I was doing it for her and for other people who might like to see this. And I'm not really sure why that's how I am, but that's just sort of how I am. I mean, maybe I just work at a slower pace than most other people, or maybe I'm just that lazy. But I find it extremely difficult to actually sit down and do my own stuff. I mean, I do eventually get around to it. And like with stuff like videos, it takes me a little longer to get to finishing editing it, because at this point, I don't have a whole lot riding on getting a video done. So, you know, it's not like I'm getting any sort of income from it, or it's not like people are expecting a video. I don't know. On a different note, another cool thing that I realized Photoshop can do while working on this is you can set the brush mode. If you go up to the brush mode, you can set it from normal to clear. And if you set it to clear, it turns any brush into an eraser, which is really awesome. And I definitely took advantage of that during this, especially doing like the rim lighting around the edges of the cat and around the curved barrel of the tank gun thing. The one thing that is annoying about setting the brush mode to clear rather than just switching to an eraser is that then you have to remember to switch it back to normal if you want to put color down instead of take it up. And there were definitely a couple of times when I forgot to put the brush back into normal mode and take it out of clear mode. And so I would be like pushing down really hard on my tablet being like, why isn't anything showing up? It's because you have the brush set to clear, Arden. That's why. But eventually I realized and I went back. And I also definitely abused the smudge tool for blending in those shadows. But in the end, I think it turned out pretty cool. And after I put all the shadows onto the drawing, I realized it still looked kind of flat. So I added some patches of brown on the tank. I wanted to do that originally, and then I almost forgot, but then I remembered at the end. And I wanted to play around with doing some colored line art, but it just ended up not looking right, so I stuck with black. Or maybe it's a very, very dark gray. And of course, the whole reason that I made this design is for this pun. You know, to put it on a shirt. This is my tank top. Get it? Tank top. Anyway, that's the final design. It is available on Redbubble, so if you want to buy it as a shirt, print, sticker, and many more, items, it is there. Thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time.